The following is an exclusive presentation of the Yes Network.
Hey, how are you? Yeah, it should be a lot of fun.
Please welcome one of the greatest coaches to ever face the sidelines, Mr. Geno Auriemma.
This is Center Stage with Michael Kay, presented by your Tri-State Land Rover retailers. Here's your host, Michael Kay.
Well, thank you, everybody, and welcome to Center Stage. Today's guest was born just outside Naples, Italy. At the age of 7, he and his family immigrated to the United States. He grew up as an athlete playing baseball and basketball. He accepted the head coaching position of the struggling University of Connecticut's women's team program, and you know what? He built a dynasty. Over the past 21 years, he's won 10 national championships and was awarded 6 Naismith College Coach of the Year awards. He's fashioned 5 undefeated seasons and guided the women's U.S. Olympic team to a gold medal. He's been called gruff and impatient, but is best known for his ability to connect with his athletes and allow them to do more than they ever thought they could do. Please welcome one of the greatest coaches to ever pace the sidelines, Mr. Geno Auriemma.
Thanks, Michael. How are you? Great. Good to see you. Thank you. Wow.
So when you hear all
Gruff and
that,
impatient. Who wrote that?
I think that was me.
All right.
Are you gruff and impatient?
I'm impatient right now, yeah.
I've always wondered this. You've had 2 extraordinarily long winning streaks.
Yeah.
The game that you lost after the winning streak, did it get you upset, and did you yell at the team?
It's hard to get upset when you won 90 games in a row.
Right.
The loss didn't bother me, and losses very rarely do. It's the way we lost. I wouldn't have minded if we gave it our best shot and we played great and they just played better and beat us, but we just didn't do a lot of things right. And in the end, it had to end, and it was probably the best thing that could have happened.
This past season, you won your 10th national championship.
Yeah.
So that ties you with John Wooden.
Yeah.
So the question is this: should you be compared with John Wooden?
No.
Why not?
Because I don't compete in his world. I didn't compete in the environment that he competed in. That's like saying, should Serena Williams be compared to Roger Federer? No, she should be compared against the greatest women's tennis players of all time.
Did you take anything from Wooden? Did you like Wooden's teachings? Did you look at what he did and say, I can apply it to what I do?
Absolutely. A lot of the stuff that we do is directly from his years at UCLA. No,
Really?
I mean,
Consciously do.
consciously do. And then, if you read the book that Seth Davis wrote on John Wooden, as I went through it, there's so many similarities between what they were doing in the late 60s, early 70s, and what has been going on in Connecticut the last 10 years. The way we dominated the landscape. They won 88 in a row. People say, well, you don't face as much competition as they did. They didn't face any competition either.
Right.
They were head and shoulders above everybody else.
Did you ever meet him?
I did one time. I told this story one time, and people think I'm making it up, but it's honest to God true. I spoke at a clinic in California, and I went to the hospitality room, and he was sitting on a couch. And Jim Boeheim was there, and I said to Jim, I said, I'd like to meet John Wooden. So he takes me over, and he says, Coach, this is Coach Auriemma, he'd like to meet you. So John Wooden moved over on the couch and went like this, and I sat down next to him. And he started talking, talking about my team, he knew about our team, and he was, very complimentary of women's basketball in general, our team in particular. And he's patting my knee like I'm, his grandson or his great-grandson. 15, 20 minutes, and then Jim and I went out to grab something to eat. We win a national championship, and there's a big piece in Sports Illustrated, John Wooden, why I love UConn women basketball.
Wow.
So I pick it up and I'm reading it, and he's talking about how unselfish we are, how we move without the ball, how we take care of all the fundamentals, how we take superstars and make them play like a team, blah, 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 blah. And he said, you know, they're playing a game that's similar to the game that we play. And he said, you know, I've never met their coach, but he seems like a nice young fellow.
Wow. Left an impression.
I thought, yeah. I'm going to have to work on my first impression skills, I guess.
You arrive in Storrs, Coach, in 1985.
Yep.
That's your first head coaching job. What was the program shape at that point?
It's like you would think of if you're in college and you're playing intramurals.
Really?
You know,
at that level?
Yeah. It's like you're playing intramurals. Like, we don't have a locker room. We practice on the court, and right around the court is a little track. So in order to get to the court, you have to walk over the track, and then sometimes people would just be running on the track and they wouldn't get off. So while you're practicing, the track team is practicing, the baseball team is practicing, and it's like being in a rec gym playing pickup basketball. And they had one winning season in the history of the program, and in the Big East, they had finished last every year for the previous 4 years, with the exact same record, by the way, 9-19. That's hard to do.
All right.
But I didn't complain, because I said if they were any better, I wouldn't have got the job.
All right, your first season there, 12-15. That's your only losing season.
Yeah.
What was that season like?
Well,
I mean, was that a good 12-15?
you know what happened is we start off the season 7-0.
Oh, really?
And they had only won 9 the previous 4 years. So they're thinking we're going to go 19-9.
Right.
And I'm thinking, you know, slow down now. We're 7-0, and I don't want to get their hopes up too high, because I had asked them, what do you think the goals are going to be this year to our team? They said, oh, we're going to finish like 3rd or 4th. I said, huh? So you guys finish last every year. Why are we going to go from last to 3rd or 4th? Well, because you're coaching us. I said, well, that's really nice of you. I said, but you guys are still playing. You know? I mean, it's not all coaching that makes you 9-19, you know what I'm saying, Michael? But we didn't finish 8th or 9th, and we didn't have to have that playing game to get into the Big East tournament.
Right.
So it was a huge success that year.
All right, so obviously Geno's been very successful, and it all started in Italy. We're going to make that trip back with him when we return on Center Stage. Everybody clap. Welcome back to Center Stage, everybody. We're talking with University of Connecticut head coach of the women's basketball team, Geno Auriemma. It all started in Montella, Italy.
Yeah.
Which is just outside of Naples. What was it like growing up in the Auriemma household?
It's a little different than the way my kids grew up.
Right.
You know, in Connecticut, you know, we didn't have like running water. We had a little well, and you don't have electricity. No phone. No TV, nothing. You know, there's none of that. Actually, I turned 7 in March, and then that November, before my 8th birthday, we came over. And yeah, I remember, you know, what it looked like, you know, what I used to do, you know, first grade.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I remember that because it's so visually different than what I have, you know, since then. I could tell what we were eating for dinner by the sounds in the backyard.
Really?
You know?
So you're killing your own food?
Whatever, you know, whatever's out there. My mother, you know, whatever. All right, we're having chicken tonight, you know. You know, and my father hated rabbit, and he made my mother swear, I'll never cook you rabbit. She must have made rabbit for him 100 times and made it taste like chicken.
Really?
It was unbelievable.
And what did he do for a living?
My 2 uncles worked in a steel mill that I ended up working in, and then my father, he worked in a candy factory. You know when you go to a hotel and they have these long, thin candies wrapped in cellophane?
Yeah.
They're really cool. That's what he got a job there, and my mother got a job there. They were killing it. I think they were making like $17 a week or something like that. They were killing it.
Do you still speak Italian?
Yeah.
Do you dream in Italian or English?
It depends. Mostly I dream in English. I can understand Italian better than I can speak it, because
Okay.
I've been out of practice.
Is there time for sports? And if there
day.
was, what would you like?
Every day. There wasn't a day that went by that I didn't play baseball.
What position did you play?
I played short and I pitched.
Were you good?
I was good.
Yeah. Professional good?
No, a scout came to see me, and I shook off like 5 pitches, and that's when he left.
Really?
He looked. He said, "Why are you shaking them off?" I said, "I'm waiting for one that I can throw."
When did basketball come into the picture?
Right around 8th grade, you know, a bunch of my friends in 8th grade were playing basketball, and something to do during the wintertime, you know, between baseball and basketball and the next spring. So I just followed them. I wasn't very good.
In high school, you rode the bench, right?
In high school, I didn't start till my senior year.
Now your coach was...
And we were really good, though.
Right.
My freshman, sophomore, and junior year.
So that being said, do you have more of an appreciation for the kids on the end of your bench?
I have an appreciation for kids that are great teammates. Guys that were older than me that taught me how to be a great teammate. And guys that played behind me a lot of times that weren't such great teammates. So I learned at an early age what makes a great teammate, and I look for those kinds of kids.
All right, so after high school, you attend Montgomery County Junior College,
yeah.
and then later Westchester University.
Yep.
What did you want to be? What were you studying? What was your aspiration?
I don't know. I just wanted to be like a couple of the guys that went there. Like, what are you guys doing? Well, we're going to school there. Why? Well, we can play basketball and hang out. Wow, so it's just an extension of high school. It's only like 2 miles away.
Right.
My parents couldn't read or write. My mother never stepped foot in school ever in her life, which was kind of interesting because when I got my report card and it had to be signed, guess who was signing it?
Wow.
So she would say to me, "How you doing in school?" "Doing great, man." I'm like, I'm a Rhodes Scholar, man. And then my brother caught on, and I was signing his too.
Now, because they were immigrants and they worked hard, did they look down their nose at the fact that you were playing sports? Did that bother them?
No, it bothered my father probably more than my mother. My mother was just happy that I was happy.
All right, we're going to continue this journey with Geno when we return right here on Center Stage. Welcome back to Center Stage, everybody. Our guest is college coaching legend. Yes, legend, Geno Auriemma. 1977, you graduate from college. You have a degree in political science.
Yes.
You plan to go to law school.
Yes.
How serious were those plans?
Well, they were serious on my end, but my professor didn't think it was very serious.
So then how did it get to coaching?
You know, while I was in school, Jim Foster, who is still coaching, and he's had great success as a coach, got a job coaching in high school. And he said to me, "Hey, why don't you help me coach this team?" I said, "What is it?" He goes, "It's high school girls." I said, "Why would anybody do that?" He says, "Wow, you know, I'm enjoying it. It's a lot of fun, you know." I said, "No, I don't think so." And he kept asking me, and I kept saying no. And he kept bugging me, and finally one day I said, "All right, I'll come out there." And I was going to school in Westchester. So this is like an hour drive almost to where the school was. So I would go up there, and I went up, and I figured, why not? It's a huge payday. I got paid $400 for doing it for the year.
Nice.
Cost me like $387 in gas.
So you're 13 ahead.
I'm 13 ahead. I started coaching, and they responded. And I thought, this is pretty cool. Like stuff that I can do instinctively, and they have no idea. And I show them, and I talk to them, and it clicks.
Right.
And I did it with him for 2 years there in high school, and then 1 year at St. Joe's in college. But I always thought at some point, I'm going to coach guys. I'm not going to do this forever.
Well, you stayed the 1 year at St. Joe's, and then you go back home to coach high school. Why didn't you stay at St. Joe's? Did you want to do high school?
Well, it was part-time, and I'm thinking, you know, how serious can this be if it's part-time college coach?
Right.
And I got to work 5 other jobs so that I can do this.
Right.
So when Phil Martelli, the coach at St. Joe's, said, "Why don't you come help me out at my old high school?" And I'm thinking, wow, I'm going to be coaching guys. You know, I got a teaching job. Like, this is it. This is how I'm going to ride it out. Teach, coach high school boys, and I'm good to go.
Now, in '81, Martelli was offered an assistant coaching job of women's basketball at Virginia under Debbie Ryan.
Yeah.
So how do you come into the picture?
Phil used to run the Kathy Rush basketball camps, which were the biggest camps in America for girls. Mm-hmm. He used to run them, and I used to work there. So I got to meet a lot of college coaches coming through there to recruit. So when they asked Phil if he would do it, Phil said no. But I got somebody that you might like. So I went down there for the interview, and I thought, what's the worst that could happen? And I get down to Virginia, and I had never been outside Philadelphia. I thought every school looked like St. Joe's and Temple and LaSalle.
Right.
And I get there, and I look, and it's UVA, and I'm like, oh, my God. I think I'm going to stay here for a while.
How was it being an assistant, and how was Debbie Ryan to work with?
Being an assistant was all I knew. And Debbie was young, and I was young, and we were able to do a lot of great things together, take the program from just starting. I was our first full-time assistant. To by the time I left in 1985, we were like 10th in the country. It was an amazing 4 years for me. It really, really was.
Now, you kind of were the head recruiter, Coach Ryan. How tough is it to go into a 17-year-old's house and ask them to come play for you?
When you're an assistant coach, it's a little more difficult because they're not coming to play for you. You don't think they're coming to play for the head coach and at Virginia. So it wasn't that difficult because if you've ever been on UVA's campus, and if you're a female athlete, I mean, it's no place better to go to school than a place like UVA. And Debbie was a great recruiter in her own right. So my first year at Virginia, we signed 3 first-team All-Americans.
Right.
And then that got us right to where we wanted to go.
Is it true, though, that you recruit the parents and not the kid?
I think you've got to do both, but I don't want a kid to come to school and play for me if the parents aren't on board.
Right.
Because then I know they're going to sabotage it.
When you were in college, Title IX happened. How did that change the world?
Well, what Title IX did was it allowed female athletes to at least get their foot in the door and be treated like an athlete as opposed to a girl playing sports. And UConn, when John Toner was the president of the NCAA and he was the athletic director at the University of Connecticut, he helped write some of that legislation. So at UConn, they've always been progressive about women's sports. So before I got there in 1985, they had already won 2 field hockey championships. And they already had a great women's soccer team. So he was really progressive. And you know, look what's happened since 1972.
All right, so the trip goes from Virginia to Storrs, and we'll make that trip with the coach when we return on CenterStage. This is CenterStage, and we're joined by 6-time Naismith College Coach of the Year, Coach Geno Auriemma. So we mentioned in 1985 you go to Storrs. What made you think you were ready?
I don't know that you're ever certain that you're ready. It's like when you and your wife decide that you're going to have children. You don't know if you're really ready to raise them.
Now, did they offer you the job right away? How did the interview process go? Where did you get interviewed?
I went up to school to get interviewed. Going into the interview process, I wasn't their first choice.
Okay.
But some of the people that were ahead of me going in demanded a lot of things that the school just couldn't give you. I want this, I want this, I want this, I want that. And so when I got there, as we were going along, they said, well, what's it going to take for you to take this job? I said, nothing. What are you going to need? I said, I don't need anything. Like, what do you want? I said, I don't want anything. So I just want you to give me the job. I'll take care of the rest. And they're like, all right, here's the guy. And they gave me the job.
Now, where does Dunkin' Donuts come into play?
Well, that's how we sealed the deal. John Toner, John from Nantucket, you know, very New England, and he gets me in his car, and we drive down to the bottom of the hill, about 3 or 4 miles. We pull into Dunkin' Donuts. We sit at the counter, not even a booth, and he orders 2 coffees, one for me and one for him. He orders 2 donuts, one for me and one for him. Old-fashioned, nothing on them, no cream, nothing, no sprinkles. And he asked me, he says, you want to be the coach of Connecticut? I said, yeah. He goes, you're going to promise me that you're not going to screw this up, are you? I said, no. He says, okay. Welcome aboard. I got a piece of paper, 1 sheet. This certifies that Geno Auriemma will be the next coach at the University of Connecticut for a period of 5 years at $29,000. Sign here. I signed. Welcome aboard. That was it.
That easy?
That easy.
No agent?
No.
Nothing.
Come on. If I had an agent, I would have said, what are you, nuts? You want to take this job?
What was your master plan? How are you going to turn things around?
Well, one of the things I told him in the interview, I said, listen, don't worry about giving me anything. I said, this is not going to be as hard as you think. I said, just give me 3 or 4 years, we'll be in the top 25. They went, what? I said, yeah, it's only going to take me like 3 or 4 years, we'll be in the top 25.
Did you really believe that, or were you just
Hell
being
no,
blustery?
I didn't believe any of it. I didn't believe any of it. So they said, well, who's going to be on your staff? So I said, well, there's an assistant at Rutgers, Chris Daly. I said, she's great. She's the best assistant in the country. She's coming with me. So now I get home, I'm on the phone. I don't know Chris that well. I've just been in a couple meetings with her, you know,
Right.
when we were assistants. I'm on the phone. Chris, I just got the job at Connecticut. Yeah, congratulations. Nah, you congratulations. You're my new assistant. She goes, no, I'm not. I said, yeah. I said, I'm not leaving here. I said, well, you have no choice. I already told them you are. You can't say no. So she comes up on the visit. She looks around. Are you kidding me? We won a national championship at Rutgers. I got it made. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to take a pay cut? I said, yeah, well, you're making it sound like it's a problem. So, talked her into it, got the job, and 30 years later, she's still there, and
Wow. Pretty amazing.
wouldn't be where I am today without her.
Well, after a while, you start attracting some big-time players. Chris Lamb, then Carrie Bascom, Laura Listness. How did you get, what was your sell to them?
They weren't being recruited by a lot of really good schools.
Okay.
So their options were kind of limited. Laura and Carrie were local kids, one from Bristol, one from New Hampshire. And it was, you can't sell the school because the school really didn't have anything to offer. So it's like anything else, you know, if the kids believe in you and a dream that you have, hey, come on, you can do this, you can help us, you can go some other place, I'm sure, and whatever, but this will be something that it'll be really special down the road, and you're going to be a big part of it. And you try to connect with them so that they want to play for you.
All right, by your 4th season at UConn, 24-6, playing the Big East tournament for the first time. Next year, you move into the Gamble Pavilion. How much did that change the program?
Well, it changed the program in that now you can recruit a little bit higher level player because you could show them some of the same things that they were going to see somewhere else. So, you know, when we're recruiting Rebecca Lobo, you know, she's going to visit Virginia, Vanderbilt, Notre Dame, Duke, and all these places, and Stanford, and now you're going to bring her to Connecticut and take her into a high school gym?
Right.
No matter what you say, it's just not going to resonate with, we're going to be really good. So once that building opened, it was a sign that, yeah, what we're doing, what we're saying is actually going to happen.
All right, 90-91, you're 29-5, and you get a big win against Auburn. Why was that win so big?
Because they were like #2 in the country, and they don't lose very often, and we were at home. So it was the first time that a team of that caliber had played on our campus.
Right.
And we beat them pretty good. And our fans just went, wow, this is, you know, this is really good.
Now
This is really good.
You make the Final Four.
Went to the Final Four.
And you end up losing to Virginia.
Losing to Virginia.
What was that like for you, and what did it mean to the program to get to the Final Four?
Well, it was the first team north of the Mason-Dixon line, I think, to go to the Final Four.
Really?
So it kind of opened up a whole new world for the rest of college basketball.
What did Carrie Bascom mean to your program?
Well, she was our first star. And she was the kind of kid that could play all 5 positions, and you wanted her taking the last shot of the game. And she's kind of the rock that everything else was built on after that.
Rebecca Lobo was one of those first players, great players that came.
She was the national player of the year. She was the best player in the country coming out of high school. And we thought that if we got her, that would open the door to everything.
They got her, and we'll make that journey with them in just a moment on Center Stage. Here's the Center Stage. 10-time NCAA champion Geno Auriemma is here. Before we get to the recruitment of Rebecca Lobo, let's talk about what was perceived, maybe it was, maybe it's more than a perception, of your feud with Pat Summitt of Tennessee. Now, obviously, she's battling Alzheimer's disease. Was that real?
Feud? I think anytime somebody is completely dominant,
Right.
where they just dominate the landscape, like Tennessee did for a number of years, there's always people that are going to come and take a run at them. And then when we came along, it wasn't just a fly-by-night kind of thing. We beat them 4 times in the championship game, and it just kept escalating and escalating to the point where naturally there's going to be a lot of friction there between the two programs.
You did not get along with her? Did you have any interaction at all?
I think that's kind of harsh.
Okay.
Because in the beginning, before it got like that, it was a normal 2 coaches who were trying to, win national championships. Then it became something other than that, and not all of it was as bad as people in the media or the fan base makes it out to be.
Mm-hmm.
When you're at that level, it's really hard to have like a really close-knit relationship.
What did she mean to you to aim for as a coach and as a program?
Well, they were the program that everybody wanted to beat.
Right.
If you went to the Final Four, it was Tennessee and 3 other schools that just happened to be there.
Right.
Now, we go there and people are all pissed because now it's Connecticut and 3 other schools. So, I understand the animosity that comes from that, where everybody thinks you just or the elephant in the room that just dominates everything and no one else gets any attention.
Who's your Geno Auriemma now?
Muffet McGraw.
Yeah?
Because they're the one team that knows day in and day out they can beat us.
That's head coach of Notre Dame.
Yeah, Notre Dame. And then naturally the same thing happened. Muffet and I are real, are good friends. But when it comes to that stuff, it gets in the way, believe me.
The recruitment of Rebecca Lobo, how
Yeah.
tough was that? How significant was it when you got her?
Everybody in the top 10 wanted her, a 6'5" kid that could pass and shoot and block shots and #1 in her class as a student. I mean, who wouldn't want her? I thought we had a little bit of an advantage is that we were only about 45 minutes from her house. And we kind of hit it off because when I walked into their house, we sat down and Rebecca's mom, Ruth Ann, God rest her soul, says to me, "I'm a guidance counselor at Granby High School." I said, "Yeah, I know that. My best students don't go to UConn." I said, "Probably true." And Rebecca's #1 in her class. Why should she go there? That's when being Italian really helps. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Like my hands started going, words started coming out of my mouth. I had no idea what I was saying. And neither did she by the time I got done. But the point that I made was come down to campus, meet some of the people, and then make your decision.
Right.
So they came down to campus and we got her.
Now you got her, but her first 2 seasons were not what her final 2 seasons were. What was going on the first 2?
Yeah, we're just coming off the Final Four. She comes in as a freshman, and she's supposed to be like the savior.
Right.
And she wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And we had good players, but we
Right.
didn't have the players that we needed to have. So everything was on her. And it was a struggle.
Did either of you think it was a mistake the first 2
No,
years?
no.
Okay.
You ask her, if you call her up right now, she called home. "Mom, it's killing me. I got to get out of here." And she said, "Okay, well then quit and come home." "I'm not doing that." "Well then suck it up and figure it out."
Are you a yeller to kids?
Gruff and impatient, maybe.
That's what I heard.
I'm not necessarily a yeller and screamer. I think I was more like John McEnroe. I was more like, "You got to be kidding me!"
Right.
It was never, "What the hell's wrong with you?" Blah, 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 blah. Never that.
In her junior year, you won the national championship.
Correct.
So you're a big deal then in campus.
Yeah.
And the men's basketball coach is a big deal, Jim Calhoun.
Yeah.
Was there ever any
Yeah, all
between
the
you
time.
two?
All the time.
Do you two not like each other?
I don't know. We don't interact with each other, so it doesn't matter. We just live in different worlds.
Because we're an equal opportunity employer here. We had Jim Calhoun on.
Sure.
And we asked him that very question, and let's see what he said. UConn's winning men's championships, winning women's championships, and I've read stories that you and Geno Auriemma do not love each other. Is it the Patino relationship? I mean, are you guys okay?
Yeah, we're fine. In all honesty, we are. At one point, I'm starting to have grandchildren, and he's got kids in Little League baseball. kind of that simple, and it really is. I mean, he's a magnificent coach. There's no question. They've won 7 championships already, and he's done a great job. We just, once again, I think people expect because he's the women's basketball coach, I'm the men's, we should be buddies, and we just aren't.
Could he win in a men's basketball league?
That's a good question. You know, the way he coaches and what his women's teams do, yes, no question, they do great stuff. Could he handle a men's team? You know, I'd like to see him try it in many, many ways, and I mean that very honestly. I know it sounds differently. No, because I just think, I mean, I know I couldn't coach a women's team because I've got one woman at home. And I don't coach her very well. I mean, I failed. I lose. So I can't coach a women's team. I mean, I just know it. Well, I can't handle one.
True.
You buy that?
What?
Everything he said.
About what?
The fact that
sometimes it's hard to pick him up.
He thinks you can win in the men's game because of the stuff you run.
I think if you're a good coach, you're a good coach. Doesn't matter who you're dealing with, because what it is your ability to connect with people. That's what coaching is.
We'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back to Center Stage, everybody. We have a little game on the show that we call Did You Ever?
Did you ever?
All right, you ready for these?
Depends. How far back are we going?
Your whole life, Geno. Did you ever ride the New York City subway?
I don't think I have.
Really?
I don't think I have.
We got to do it today.
All right, we got to do it today.
10 national championships. You're the big deal. Olympic gold medal as a coach. Mm-hmm. You ever walk past a mirror, wink, and go, yeah?
No.
Never.
But I stop there and do like a Fonzie every once in a while. I stop by and go, hey, you know.
Did you ever get a hole-in-one in golf?
Yes.
How many?
1.
And was it the thrill that you thought it would be?
It was, except the 3 guys I was playing with are really my good friends, and they acted like it never happened.
Did you ever go into a game and think that you had no chance to win?
Yes.
That was early?
Early. Matter of fact, I told the other coach 10 minutes into the game, they were still pressing us. It was Villanova, Harry Peretta. I looked down and said, Harry, stop pressing. We have no intention of winning tonight.
Did you ever feel sorry for an opposing coach or team?
All the time.
Did you ever want to punch another coach in the mouth?
Yes.
Who?
Ah, come on,
Come
stop.
on.
Ah,
I gotta ask.
no, I mean, I know you can ask, but I'm not going to tell you. Yes.
Did you ever get a job offer from a WNBA team?
Yes.
Would you take that?
No.
Obviously you didn't. How come?
I like my summers off.
All right, in 1994, you became a U.S. citizen.
Yeah.
Why did you take so long to do that?
I never thought I needed to.
Why did you need to?
Because I was going to Italy with my team, and I didn't want to get arrested over there and have to stay there and do my 2 years military service. I wanted a U.S. passport.
All right, now after you win your national championship, it would be 5 years before you won another national championship. In those 5 years, did you think, what's happening here? Is it going to happen again?
Yeah, you think about just a one-time wonder.
Right.
That's the biggest fear I think that everybody has. What if I can't do this again?
Well, you do. In 99, 2000, you go 36-1. You win your second national championship. Did that mean validation to you personally?
Kinda. We should have been undefeated that year. We lost 1 game to Tennessee at home.
Right.
Because I got mad at Svetlana at shoot-around in the morning. And she knew I was mad at her, and she was mad at me.
Right.
So at the end of the game, we passed her the ball, and she never passes up this shot. And we're going to win if she just shoots it. And she passes it to a kid who wasn't ready for it, and we lost. And she kind of almost looked at me like...
Wow. All right, the next year you get Diana Taurasi. You win 3 consecutive national championships. Now you got it rolling. It's everything that you wanted to build.
Correct.
And was she the key? Was she the linchpin?
Well, she happened to join a team that already had 4 of the best players ever to play at UConn.
Right.
You know, Sue Bird, Swing Cash, Asia Jones, and Tamika Williams. So now you put her into the mix, and it's 2002's greatest team ever to play college basketball.
What made her so good?
She's fearless. She's unbelievably talented. She's a great teammate. And the big moment waits for her. She's not afraid of the big moment. When there's a big moment, it doesn't leave until she takes care of it. I think she's the most complete player we've ever had.
Uh-huh. All right, short time afterward, Maya Moore arrives.
Yep.
2 more national championships. You have the 90-game win streak. That comes to an end in December 2010 against Stanford.
Yep.
Are you still ticked about that loss?
It had to end somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, how many are you going to win in a row? I mean, if Elena Del Don hadn't left, it could have been 150 in a row. I mean, I don't know.
Right.
But it had to end somewhere.
Now you have Breanna Stewart join.
Yep.
Streak of 3 more national titles.
Yep.
You getting bored at all?
There are times when it's really difficult, I find I enjoy it more.
Right.
Like when I'm coaching the Olympic team, and I know it's going to be really, really hard to win certain games. I really kind of enjoy it. It brings me back to the old days.
Hit and Run's coming up next with Geno Auriemma. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody. We're talking with UConn's women's basketball head coach, Geno Auriemma. What did the 2012 Olympics mean to you? I mean, how does that compare with a national championship?
It's a lot harder to win the Olympics. You're playing against the best teams in the world, the best players in the world. There's a lot of pressure when you're representing the United States of America, and they've got the flags there and the poles there, and they're ready to lift the flag up, and they're going to play the national anthem at the end of the game, and God forbid you got to sit there and listen to somebody else's, and it's like, and like all these people that work so hard to make it happen. So yeah, that's the most pressure I've ever felt.
But it had to be a little easier because you had a lot of your players on the team.
Yeah, but they've changed. They don't want to hear it the way they used to hear it.
Right.
They had no choice back then.
All right, it's time for Hit and Run.
All right.
All right, I'm going to say something, first thing that comes to your mind. Here we go. Favorite meal?
My wife Kathy's probably veal mayonnaise.
Okay. College arena with the best atmosphere and environment?
Cameron Indoor Stadium, probably.
Your most memorable college game and why?
Probably the game that we beat University of Toledo to go to the regionals in 1990-91, because it was our first regionals, and then we won that and we went to the Final Four because we were down 2 with like about 20 seconds left. Carrie Basco made a 3-point play. We won by 1.
All right. The top 3 female college players that you've ever seen?
Ever?
Ever.
Diana Taurasi, Maya Moore, and Cheryl Miller.
Now, all your players that will watch this show that you didn't pick as the top 3, will you get phone calls?
No, because they know I'm right.
The team you most consider to be UConn's biggest rival?
Notre Dame.
Okay. The significance behind the cross that you wear?
My father brought this chain. He went to Italy for the first time since they've been over, and he brought this chain back from Italy, and it's one of a kind. I don't think they make them anymore. And I've had this same one since my senior year in high school.
Can we see it?
The cross that's on it
Right.
is the second one, the second cross I've had.
Uh-huh.
The first one melted when I worked in a steel mill. It was so hot.
Really? One former player who surprised you and impressed as the classic overachiever?
I think the 2 players who epitomized that were Jennifer Rosati and Jamel Elliott. Because when they came into UConn, no one expected what they were able to do. Jennifer Rosati went from like not even the top 100, whatever, to National Player of the Year as a senior.
Best piece of advice anyone ever gave you?
Work hard and make a lot of friends.
If given a mulligan in life, what would you have done differently?
I would have worked a little bit harder in college to get to law school.
But then this wouldn't have happened.
But who knows what could have happened? Might be president of Yes Network and you'd be working for me. And based on this interview, you would get a huge raise.
Thank you. All right, when Geno Auriemma is watching TV late at night, long day, favorite late night snack, what are you shoveling down their throat?
Ice cream.
What kind?
Mint chocolate chip. My favorite.
All right, finally, if you were trapped in a foxhole, what person would you most like to have in there with you to help you get out?
Who are we fighting?
A bad enemy.
A bad enemy. I would say of all the people that I've met in my life, probably Chris Daly or my brother.
Nice.
My brother, he's completely different than me. First of all, we wouldn't be in the foxhole because he would be beating up the other guys.
Okay.
But he runs a little construction thing down in Philadelphia, and he looks like that.
Yeah. Tough.
Yeah, he's tough. Like when he shakes hands with you, his fingers shake hands with your elbow.
We're going to wrap things up with Geno Auriemma right here on Center Stage. Stay tuned. This is Center Stage, and we're talking with 10-time NCAA champion Geno Auriemma. Does that ever like sink in 10 times?
I think when people say it,
Right.
then it makes you go, wow.
Some new rule changes for women's college basketball coming up. Do you like them?
I do.
Which are the ones that you like the most?
4 quarters. You call timeout in the last minute of the game. You can advance the ball to have like rules that should have been done a long time ago. Those are just 2 big things, but there'll be more new rule changes down the road.
You are not shy about opinions throughout your career, and you kind of ruffled some feathers when you took shots at the men's game last year. Do you regret the words you used?
I regret saying it was a joke.
Okay.
I don't regret everything else I said because everything else I said turned out to be exactly right. You watch a men's game, it's hard to watch. How can that many great athletes play that slow? How can there be that many fouls not called? How can people beat each other up so bad? They don't do that in the NBA. They change the rules in football to help the offense. They change the rules in baseball to help the offense. College basketball, nobody wants to change anything to help anybody. The guys who are in charge want to keep the status quo. If it wasn't for the NCAA tournament, college men's basketball, not that great to watch. From
You think
a fan standpoint.
it gets better in the tournament?
Incredibly better in the tournament.
Well, you're seeing better teams.
You're seeing better teams.
Right. Olympic gold medal.
Yep.
10 championships, and Naismith Hall of Fame. What means the most to you? Because Hall of Fame is part of forever.
Yeah, it is part of forever. And that's, something that your peers think
And you make the Women's Hall of Fame, too, and the
yeah,
Naismith.
and your peers think that you deserve it, and you've done some extraordinary things. And to be listed among those probably hasn't sunk in yet.
Right. Do you think you'll ever coach men's basketball?
I don't know, but you never say never.
NBA intrigue you?
Always.
Yeah?
Always has.
Why?
The best players playing against the best players.
Any NBA owner ever give a women's college basketball coach a chance to coach his team?
Not if he wants to keep ownership of the team.
But, I mean, you're a legend. It's not like he's bringing in Joe Schlob.
I don't think you would ever have an opportunity to do that. I think maybe if a friend of yours got the job, you could maybe get on the staff as an assistant. Not without any experience. Not going to happen.
Could your ego allow you to be an assistant coach again?
Absolutely.
Even at the NBA level?
Absolutely.
Like if Greg Popovich called?
Oh, I'd walk there.
Really? And give it all up?
And give it all up.
No kidding.
Yep.
Over the years, you've been involved in raising money for the Connecticut Children's Medical Center.
Yep.
Scholarships for children who witnessed the tragedy at Sandy Hook.
Yep.
Why are these things important to you, Coach?
Because when I was growing up, and listening to my mother talk about, tying cardboard around your shoes to walk. But I've been fortunate to be in a position where I've gotten all these things. And it's like a great bottle of wine. What's the point of having it if you're not going to share it with somebody? So the Connecticut Children's Hospitals, they're doing things that no one else in New England is doing. And they need private money. When those kids had to be involved in that massacre over at Sandy Hook, it was like, what are you going to do about that? Well, let's start a scholarship at UConn where all those children of the parents that were killed, all those siblings of those kids, and the kids that went to school, if they want to come to UConn and they have the grades to do it, we should make an opportunity so that they don't have to pay for it. So we did that, and so far there's 2 kids that are going to UConn for free that wouldn't have been able to go to UConn.
That's great stuff.
So these are the kinds of things that I think help me feel more connected to the community.
How much longer do you want to do this?
Well, it's never about the money. but if they keep paying me what they're paying me, for a long time.
Yeah, good for you. It's been fun. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it.
I really enjoyed it.
Geno Auriemma, I'm Michael Kay, and this is Center Stage. So long, everybody.
He has a moral fiber that he instills in his player. He plays it by the rules. He's a straight shooter, and you know where he's coming from. And I think his players respect that, and I know as a fan, I respect that.
He's a great role model. He treats his gals wonderfully.
Having been a former high school coach myself, I respect his ability to motivate and to teach young women how to play as a team.